First thing I saw was Foolio laid up. I thought it was a car until I looked up, saw the bullet holes, and I saw Zay covered in blood yelling.
Tears filled the courtroom as Foolio's cousin Norris took the stand, his voice trembling as he recalled those final haunting moments. He revealed what Foolio said before collapsing, words that silenced everyone, but it was his next confession that left even the judge frozen in disbelief. On October 22, 2025, the Hillsborough County Courthouse in Tampa, Florida, fell into a heavy, suffocating silence. This wasn't just another day in court, it was a moment that would be remembered by everyone present. The trial had captured national attention, sparking conversations about gang violence, drill rap culture, and the tragic feud that had torn through Jacksonville's streets for more than a decade. Norris, cousin of slain rapper Julio Foolio, whose real name was Charles Andrew Jones II, wasn't just a witness, he was a survivor. He had been inside the black Dodge Charger on June 23, 2024, when masked gunmen ambushed them outside a Tampa hotel, unleashing a deadly storm of bullets. Now, more than a year later, Norris stood before the jury, reliving that nightmare, his words filled with pain and truth. What was meant to be a night of celebration for Foolio's 26th birthday had instead become the night that ended his life.
So you fell asleep after that, after he came back to the car, or you started dozing?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember being woken up at some point, or woke up?
Yes, when the car hit, I don't remember exactly what it hit, but the car hit something that woke me up.
The confusion in those first few seconds must have been overwhelming. Imagine being jolted awake, your mind still foggy with sleep, only to realize that something is terribly wrong. Norris testified that at first he thought they had been in a car accident, his brain trying to make sense of the chaos. But as his eyes adjusted, reality hit him like a freight train. What he saw shattered any hope that this was just a crash. He couldn't even process what had happened to his cousin because the horror around him kept unfolding. When he looked up expecting to see the wreckage of another vehicle, he instead saw bullet holes, dozens of them, evidence of a relentless barrage that had turned their car into a scene of war. The truth sank in with terrifying clarity. This wasn't an accident. It was an ambush, an execution, calculated attack designed to kill. Norris then described seeing the driver, Xavier Zake Edwards, another survivor, covered in blood and screaming amid the chaos.
Xavier Edwards?
Yes.
You saw him covered in blood?
Yes.
All right. So let me talk to you about Xavier Edwards. I don't know if we talked about him yet. So Xavier Edwards was also there at the clubs with you all?
Yes.
And he was driving the Dodge Charger coming from the clubs to the hotel?
Yes.
The blood that covered him and the sheer panic of the moment painted a picture of absolute terror. Despite being shot in the arm and shoulder, Edwards was still conscious, struggling to comprehend what had just happened, fighting through the pain and desperately trying to survive.
Is he saying anything at that point?
Yes, he was yelling.
What was he yelling? And you can say exactly what he said.
If he was like yelling like.
As the prosecutor continued questioning Norris about his injuries, the full scope of what had happened inside that vehicle began to unfold. He revealed a crucial detail that showed just how close he had come to death himself, and how random and indiscriminate the violence truly was. Bullets tear through metal and flesh without mercy, without regard for who they hit or where they strike. It's a terrifying reminder of how chaotic and uncontrollable moments like that can be. Norris had been lying on his side when the shooting started, half asleep, completely unaware and defenseless. In that vulnerable position, a bullet tore through his arm near the shoulder. When the prosecutor asked if he still had the scar, his quiet yes spoke volumes. That scar wasn't just a physical reminder, it was a permanent mark, a constant trigger that brought him back to that parking lot, that car, and those moments of pure terror. Every time he looked at it, he relived that night. When the prosecutor asked, "Are those photographs of you in the hospital?" the question, and the sight of himself at his most broken, became too much to bear. Norris broke down in tears, the emotion he had tried to contain finally overwhelming him. The judge, recognizing his pain, called for a brief recess, giving Norris time to compose himself and process what he had just relived. As he sat there with tissues beside him, trying to steady his breath, Norris embodied the human cost of gang violence. He wasn't just a witness. He was a survivor who had watched his cousin die, who had nearly died himself, and who carried scars that would never truly heal. The tragedy he described didn't happen in isolation. It was the result of years of escalating violence, of a feud between rival gangs in Jacksonville that had claimed dozens of lives and been amplified through drill rap and social media. To understand the weight of his testimony, we have to understand Julio Foolio's life and the deadly rivalry that led to his murder. The coordinated ambush that ended Foolio's life on June 23, 2024, had been planned long before the first shots were fired. Surveillance footage shown in court revealed Foolio arriving at the Home 2 Suites Hotel in Tampa around 4:30 a.m., wearing a red cap and celebrating his 26th birthday after a night of music and partying. His original reservation had been given away, so he was trying to secure another room, completely unaware aware that he was being watched, tracked, and hunted. Moments later, another vehicle appeared on the screen. "That car right there," the prosecutor narrated. "That's the assault team." These weren't random strangers. They were individuals who had traveled from Jacksonville to Tampa for one purpose: to kill Julio Foolio. The attackers moved with precision, circling the hotel strategically, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Another vehicle, a Nissan Altima from Foolio's entourage, pulled in. The driver, Taffa McRae, and his girlfriend, Aaliyah Alberton, went inside to use the restroom, unaware of the danger closing in. When Taffa stepped out, Foolio's friend Camilla Bentley slid into the driver's seat. She would later survive the attack with a gunshot wound to her arm. The tension in court was palpable as the prosecutor narrated the seconds leading up to the shooting. A Chevy Cruze, part of the attacker's convoy, moved into position. In the footage, one of the shooters could be seen wielding an automatic Glock. The video showed Xavier Edwards, the driver of Foolio's Dodge Charger, desperately trying to flee as gunfire erupted. Then came one of the most damning pieces of evidence. A Tesla parked nearby, its Sentry mode cameras recording the entire ambush in crystal clear 4K. The footage captured the shooters running into position, creating a deadly crossfire. Later, photos of the bullet-riddled Charger at the impound lot showed just how violent the attack was. Yellow stickers covered the car, marking every bullet hole on the hood, sides, and windshield. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment shooting. It was a calculated execution. The prosecutor described the gunmen as acting with suddenness, speed, and overwhelming firepower. 3 shooters armed with AR-style rifles and a fully automatic Glock 19. Foolio and his friends never had a chance. Law enforcement pieced together the case using modern technology: Tesla and hotel surveillance, ring cameras, cell phone tower data, and even Cash App records. One suspect's car was traced through license plate readers. Another's mother confirmed her son had the vehicle that night. Ballistics matched shell casings to an earlier shooting, linking 18-year-old Sean Gathright directly to the crime. Once an ordinary kid who played video games online, he had become what investigators called a cold-blooded killer. The 5 suspects, Alicia Andrews, 21, and Isaiah Chance Jr., 21, the spotters, and shooters Sean Gathright, 18, Rashad Murphy, 30, and Dave Murphy, 27, faced overwhelming evidence. Prosecution requested that some witnesses have their faces hidden for safety, underscoring the lingering threat of retaliation. Foolio's death was the tragic climax of a feud between Jacksonville's rival gangs, KTA/6 Block and ATK/1200, a war that began in the mid-2000s and left dozens dead. What started as neighborhood disputes became a full-scale conflict played out online and through music. Drill rap became both weapon and witness, as artists mocked dead rivals and vowed revenge in viral songs. Foolio's feud with Youngin Ace was at the center of it all. Tracks like Who I Smoke and Foolio's When I See You turned murder into music, each song fueling the next act of violence. Foolio's life had been marked by tragedy long before his death. Shot at 15, denied re-entry to school, and pulled deeper into the streets, he spent his youth caught between survival and fame. Despite success as a rapper, the cycle of violence around him never ended. Even after surviving previous attempts on his life, he continued posting his location on Instagram, unknowingly giving his killers the information they needed. Hours after his murder, his rivals released diss tracks, and someone began posting from his own account, taunting the dead through his digital ghost.